fact that Avicii would be doing an album to me is just like, have you heard Avicii's album? Oh yeah, like I don't think it all tells a story. Like,
do you think anyone's got Avicii on vinyl? Can you listen to that on vinyl?
Of course, someone does, because it'll be the new thing that, like, that'd be. It's like how for some, like, even like say a musical hipster now, it'd be kind of almost cool to say you like Westlife or something, because it's so
camp.
It's so camp that you liking it is niche as someone who likes music. It's yeah.
Well, I think if I was getting a girl back, I had the vinyl player. I'd do the mood lighting. I put a vinyl on and it plays Levels by Avicii.
Yeah. Like, what is she going to expect from you in the bedroom after doing that? Imagine the pace you'd have to go at if Levels is playing. You know what I mean? You just have to start biting her.
Yeah.
You know?
Those are my love mix, is all just EDM. EDM was a special time. It was 2008 to 2013, I'd say.
Right.
Was the kind of core time. It was in there that also was dubstep, was an offshoot of that. Was dubstep big down your end?
Is N-dubs in dubstep?
No. Dubstep is a genre of music. Right. N-dubs, obviously, Dappy, Talisa, and then the other guy.
They're good people.
The other guy.
Who?
There's just no one knows.
I don't know the other.
He's the other guy, the black guy. It was Dappy who was known for and he taught me a lot about trademarking as well. Is that like if you just wear a hat that no one else is wearing, you will be remembered. Yeah. And then Talisa, obviously the girl one.
But do you think that for that guy then? Is that cool or a nightmare that he was in N-dubs and he can remain anonymous and just live his life and not, like, imagine being Dappy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but was Dappy
you're doing free coke and Ibiza still, for sure.
Yeah, I don't know, but I don't know if Dappy was trying to do a hit and run. I think Dappy was trying to be remembered. I don't think Dappy was going for the quiet life. I don't think Dappy's livid.
No, I know, but you're Dappy though. You know what I mean?
Fame wasn't thrust upon Dappy. He searched it out. He made that seismic. And if I made a Dappy biopic,
which you may do,
you'd have so what is that hat? It's like a winter, it's sort of like a Scandi Nordic winter hat that has like ear muffs.
He was afraid of getting pneumonia. He was conscious of.
But I imagine Dappy was maybe in like N-Dabs, which was a different iteration of the band, and he had the normal hat on. Right. And this is how I'd open the biopic: is he's constantly, and it's just not going well. And he doesn't know why it's not going well. And then there's one moment, he's just had the worst gig ever. And N-Dabs has broken up, and then he lifts them both up, and that's kind of like the big.
Oh, that's the start of N-Dubs.
Yeah, that's the start. Right. Well, that's the start of the Dappy story.
Okay.
I think it would be more about Dappy than N-Dubs. I think.
Yeah.
The rise, the fall. There's a lot of epic narratives.
The name sounds too close to Nappy to have any real respect. Like Dappy, because when I think of Dappy, like when I say Dappy, I think of Nappy.
Yeah.
And just
is that what he was going
shit
for?
In Nappy. I don't know. Maybe some sort of an allusion to childhood or being a baby. But Talisa, do you know what I saw actually recently? Very hurtful little clip of.
Was it her sex tape? And it hurt.
No, that was good.
That wasn't a hurtful for your virginal image of Talisa. Well, as the sort of kind of Virgin Mother Mary figure in your imagination.
No, she would have been Mary Magdalene. Like she was like
the sacred whore.
That's right, she's sacred whore. There was a feeling like, oh, she could be redeemed if she got. Do you know what I mean? If you put her on the straight and narrow. But it was an X Factor clip where she's like. So one of Barlow's acts are on. Yeah. And anyway, it comes to Talisa, and Talisa doesn't know what to say really. Yeah. Like she was in N-Dubs. She's just, she doesn't know why she's there, but she's getting paid a lot, and that's great. So she's just like, I just don't know if you're a pop star, because she's heard someone else say it. And then Gary was just like, I don't know what's more offensive, your comments or the smell of cigarette smoke off your breath. He says to Talisa, poor old Talisa. And poor Talisa was clearly hurt her feelings tremendously. And then she tries to recover. So she goes...
I mean, that's a pretty savage burn.
it was a nasty thing to say, and if it was very personal, and you know what I mean.
But I guess sometimes in the industry, and you see this in comedy as well, in an old hand, sometimes it's important to show people who are new,
who's boss.
Exactly. And you should expect that, and you should respect your elders. But there should be a little bit of fucking tail whipping.
But surely backstage, surely you don't do it in front of millions of people. Like, surely that is quite sadistic from Barlow.
Well, I think it's more about, you need to test people to see if they're ready for show business.
Right.
And she got tested. Where is she now? She couldn't hack it.
Well, she couldn't hack it. And then she
got the Barlow treatment, and it crushed her. It would either make or break her, and it broke her.
Right. Okay. So you were thinking, in a way, it was like whiplash.
Yeah.
It was like your man throwing a cymbal at someone's head. Like, Barlow was like, this will make you stronger.
But also in Whiplash, I assume he was doing that to lots of other kids. He was treating them like that, and none of them could hack it, So Barlow's gone through a lot of other people.
Yeah.
And so Talisa, he thought, could be the one, realising that moment.
Louis Walsh could hack it.
Now, have you seen...
Louis could, because he just didn't really understand.
Have you seen Louis and Sharon on Big Brother?
No, I didn't see it, but I heard it's great.
The clips, it is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Because it's like... I guess I didn't really realise you were allowed to do that in show business in that way, but there's something about this kind of pair of old queens...
Yeah.
At the end of their career, just slagging everyone off, and I'm like, I don't know, maybe if at the end of if we're both in our 70s, and as a sort of last grab for any sort of money or fame, we then go on a reality TV show. I don't know, just take everyone down with us. Everything we know about anyone famous, just fucking any opinion we have. I think there is something iconic just to fucking...
I would take Paddy down.
No, God, yeah.
Paddy Young would just...
And I'd wait till that moment, and it would just be both me and you listening to each other, being like, and he was... To work with, he's an absolute monster behind the scenes. I find it so funny that the way that people have this kind of idea of Paddy as being this kind of charming, sweet man. But it's just not true, is it, Mike?
Well, no, it's not. He's one of literally the cruelest men. If you look at that Gary Barlow comment, that is softball compared to the way Paddy treats women.
And it's funny talking about Paddy, because this episode is this is technically a history episode about degenerate poets, Lord Byron and Oscar Wilde, who are both, I think Paddy actually does have Byronic qualities.
Yeah, I was wondering if you were going to use
sodomy.
I was wondering if you were going to use the phrase Byronic, and now that I think of it, it was kind of naive of me to think you weren't going to use it a lot. You love using things like that, like these kind of captioning things, like something being like of a certain era, or like Rooney-esque, or do you know what I mean? You're,
Well, yeah.
Like if someone got caught shagging in bins, you'd be like, yeah, it's Roonian, you would say. Something like that's what you use this language.
Well, if Paddy's the Byronic hero, I do think you're Rooney-esque, I would say.
Roonian. I'm Roonian. In my demeanour and general complexion.
Have you seen Wayne Rooney go on that Twitch stream?
No.
He's gone on like there's all these idiot YouTube streamers who play FIFA online, where they each play as individual players. They're playing pro clubs. Right. And Rooney just joins in.
Doing what?
Playing as one of the players. And they're all just bollocking him. And he just sounds like... They both got the same IQ, so it is quite interesting. Well, he fits in perfectly.
Who has the same IQ? Rooney and...
YouTube streamers.
Oh, so he's playing them?
He's playing, in
FIFA.
And he's got a mic on. It's one of the most... It's amazing.
Right.
And it's amazing when you're thinking this is like... arguably England's greatest ever football player, and he's playing FIFA online with these streamers, and it's sort of seamless.
Yeah. I can't believe, what I can't believe is that he's had management jobs, and that he's trying to shag the caretaker, who's like a 72-year-old man from Wigan, and Rooney is trying to bed this man in a hedge.
Well, we'll get onto it, but Lord Byron... because of Lord Byron's charm and good looks, he had very similar urges to Rooney, but it gets framed differently. Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, because Byron's thing was because of his love of the Greeks and the classics, and kind of
his roguish charm and good looks.
That's right.
Well read, went to Harrow.
That's right. Wrote a lot of poetry, and he can just kind of be a nonce and it's romantic.
Yeah, exactly. Everything he's doing is imbued with romance.
Well, so
and Rooney doesn't have that privilege because he's a footballer and he looks like a potato smiley.
Right, yeah. And he's kind of even like he's kind of a sweating, kind of a potato lumped man, deeply Irish in every way.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
In the most unflattering ways. Well, and the best in the way he played and stuff, you know.
But then I would also, you know, I think both of us are having a bit of a tug of war over who claims Rooney because you're trying to claim him for Ireland. I see him as deeply English as well.
Oh, no, you can have him. No. Like, honest, like, I'm not claiming, like, Rooney's Irish. I'm just saying, like, obviously look at him. Like,
spiritually, there's an Anglo-Irish thing going on, which Oscar Wilde is as well. So, you know, both him and Rooney both share.
Yeah. And I don't know whether it was
of English and
I don't
Irish
know who had the quote. We're all in the gutter, but some of us are looking at the stars. It was either Wilde or Rooney. I don't. It's hard to know who to attribute that to. Rooney would often have a beautiful turn of phrase. Push it, push me the ball. He's Scouse. I can't pass it.
So he's been forgiven for his cheating, but I forgave him for his cheating as well, very easily.
Yeah, because you
Do you know what I mean?
Because it's not conniving.
Do you know
cheating.
what I mean? There's something about his cheating. It really feels like he can't bloody help it. Do you know what I mean?
Of course he can't help it. We spoke about this before. It's you know, it's not like he's like texting like OnlyFans models. Yeah. It's the fucking 52-year-old lady that works in Greg's. She's just got off her shift, and Rooney's, you know, shagging her in a bin. He's shagging her in a bin. Do you know what I mean? Like, he doesn't want to be doing that.
Yeah.
That's not...
He really feels like a slave to his desires in a way.
Well, 100%. Yeah. And, you know, he's out at nightclubs and there's, you know, Samantha from Wigan has just got a divorce and she's grinding up. Yeah. He can't say no to that.
He can't.
But he has no interest in it.
He's too polite to say no to that.
Yeah, but
he was raised too well.
Yeah, but if like Zendaya or someone wanted to he wouldn't have any interest in that. He really wouldn't. He wouldn't know how to relate to someone like that, you know.
So what kind of porn do you think Rooney watches? Where's his fantasies? What's his sexual fantasy when can explore just the depths of what he likes the most? I can't even imagine. I think he has a very low bar. Like you can find anything that your wildest dreams desire, but I don't think he has wild dreams at all.
Well, no, because they don't make the things. It'd just be like someone in Sainsbury's. You buy a packet of Quavers. And then the girl is like, do you want a bit extra with the quavers? And then brings you around the counter in Sainsbury's in front of everyone. Yeah. Takes one of the packs of fags, starts smoking as they're shagging. People don't make what? And enough stuff for people like him. But the thing is with old Lord Byron, so for people who don't know, he's very famous English poet, one of the most famous ever. He himself, you see, he had a very strict nanny, this Calvinist woman.
Yes.
Who used to pull the willy off him.
Yeah, he had quite a sexually traumatic upbringing.
Yeah.
Which weirdly does seem like quite a sophisticated thing to have. Like when you're learning about like a classy English gentleman, it does seem to add to the sophistication if they were diddled by their nanny growing up. That seems to add to the kind of tenets of what makes an English gentleman. Do you know what I mean?
It didn't seem to hurt his creativity. Do you know what I mean?
But there's something tasteful about it.
Yeah. But also she was just like, also like someone might say she was the original super nanny.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're there, you're 11 years old, suddenly you're getting a shandy off this deeply religious, because she was a puritanical wench who was very strict on him and was all this stuff.
Yeah.
But then in the nighttime, she apparently used to be going out and getting drunk and like shagged by sailors and stuff.
Or Jekyll and Hyde sort of.
Yeah. And then she would come back and like just, you know.
Well, that's verified my view of most severely religious women. I do. That's how I imagine them.
Yeah.
As soon as the sun goes down, it's fucking, it's whack a cock. Every time.
Yeah. But so then so obviously he had that early on, and that kind of made a dog's dinner of his sexuality going forward. But I mean, the reality was, he was a good-looking guy.
Yeah.
Very charming. He had a weird clubbed foot.
Yes. And his mum slagged him off loads growing up.
She called him...
is kind of awesome.
She called him she's like, you lame little brat.
But he did come back with some pretty good ones. He called her like a fat sow, like she was overweight. So once again, this is good sort of kind of Protestant English parenting.
Yes.
This sort of like straight out the womb roasting session.
It was like the roast of Tom Brady, but like, you know, like there was constantly great jokes.
Yeah.
Lovely structure.
This is what a Protestant upbringing is. It's the mother should not be this caring, warming. It should be sort of kind of getting you on your feet, jabs constantly.
That's
trying to undermine your self-esteem.
He was also like, he was kind of like, you're a fucking Scottish sport. Even though he was technically Scottish, he was like, you're a Scottish loser. You Scottish old bitch.
You're like fat bastard from Austin Powers. That's his view of her.
He knew that movie was coming.
Well, he predicts a lot of things, you know.
Yeah.
He was very innovative.
Oh no, he was very prescient, if I may use the word. But so his dad. Yeah. Here's the thing about Lord Byron, the greatest sport of all time. Yeah. So Mad Jack had married his mother for money because his mother was a plain...
He earned the name Mad Jack. It wasn't christened. He wasn't christened it.
No, he wasn't christened it. What's that? Isn't there like a term for like...
Nominal determinism.
Right. Yeah, because if you're calling Mad Jack, you're not giving much of a chance.
Yeah. Well, the classic one is Colin Hanks and Chet Hanks.
Right.
The Hanks brothers.
Yeah.
Colin Hanks is the most Colin you've ever seen, and Chet Hanks is the most Chet you've ever seen.
Yeah.
That's the strongest...
Chet's kind of like
nominal determinism.
Chet is
maybe I have nominal determinism. Am I, did Horatio put pressure on me to be Horatio, or like what? Throw a name at me, and do you think it would change? What name would you do you think?
If you were called Gary, for example, yeah,
Gary Gould though. There's a jazz.
Gigi.
There's Gary Gould.
Gigi, baby.
Gary Gould has a jazz-like quality to it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think maybe if I was called Craig or like...
Craig Gould. Yeah. Well, I think you wouldn't... You would have to be like... You couldn't be sitting like this.
No.
Lord Byron.
Yeah.
He has this club foot. Yeah. He then goes to a private school, Harrow, because he falls into some money. So he's really poor when he's young. With his mother.
But he comes from money, so it's got his Mad Jack lost all the money gambling, right? There was money floating about, and then it got lost.
His father spent all his mother's money, and then his father went to France.
Which is also classy, I think. When you find out these gentlemen, there is something about a father losing all your money. There is something.
There's romance there. Do you know what I mean? There's nothing more boring than your father keeping all your money. Do you know what I mean?
Setting up an ISA.
And saving it. Yeah. This is for your future. That's not going to create a poet.
The roguish gent really is having loads of money to start with, so you have all the trappings of being posh and the sophistication, the dialect, and then losing it all. So having to do things for money that no other posh person has to do. That is part of the mystique, I think.
Yeah,
being posh and broke really is sort of the
because
most classy you can be.
My father kind of had those ideas a little bit.
No, but your father, we talked about this. The view of class is very different in Ireland.
Yeah,
because it's all about land. Square footage.
It is all about land.
It's a numbers game in Ireland. It's just
my father. It's all about land and this weird misery. And he had a phrase there recently where he said poverty, work, and woe, the masters of my life shall be. Isn't that nice?
That is lovely.
Yeah.
Is that one of his?
Huh?
Is that an original?
He's claiming it.
Sure.
It's surely not. But this is just at the dinner table. It's just like, pass the pepper or what? Do you know what I mean? And he's, so he has this, it's all about this misery, but also when they were young, they literally had no shoes and stuff because the farm had kind of gone broke, but they were still instilled with an idea that you're better than everyone.
Yeah, he's got a snobbery.
Yeah.
Which is nice. Yeah.
But a weird, I'm covered in cow shit. Like, this couldn't be less. I'm literally...
Work so hard.
Shit gremlin. Do you know what I mean? I'm up at 6 every morning.
Hand up a cow's arse.
100%. Hand up a cow's arse, and they're bad days too. But then there was this kind of this idea that you're better, which is fun.
Yeah.
A fun thing.
I'd like our dads to meet because both our dads are snobby in very different ways. I think they both look down on each other, which would be quite funny. It would be circling each other with a sort of snobbery.
But your dad's snobbery because your dad comes from like East End working class.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So he's got that. But his main thing is what he really can't stand is people who are smart not making money. He can't stand that.
Right.
So he hates doctors. Hates teachers.
Because doctors, to him, that's not real money.
Well, it's more like you clearly got a brain on you. What are you doing making so little money? I'm thick and I made money.
but does he want the doctor dumb people to be doctors? Like this is the...
Yeah, but it's more like... I guess he doesn't think about it that deeply. It's more like... I guess it's more just on an individual basis. I think it irks him just as a waste of, you know.
I kind of do. I mean, I like people being teachers.
It's funny. The main thing is that the noble pursuit of healthcare, that's over his head. That's
I mean, I don't like people becoming teachers. I think is ridiculous.
Yeah, but they're not necessarily smart. I guess so I take that back.
And almost exclusively aren't. But which is like the fate of the nations in their hands.
Yeah.
But
you couldn't have smart people being teachers. You need too many of them, right?
And they wouldn't be able to relate to the children. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. You need people who are not that far off.
I think the job I least like, I think the opposite is a teacher, I think. But that's just very personal to me because I don't like school. And the idea of some people who go to school, they go to university and they come back and be a teacher. The idea of never leaving school terrifies me.
But just even think the smell of school,
the
hallway,
I hate it.
The apple cores, the lunch boxes.
Yeah, all of it.
Still, I hated it all.
Yeah.
And it's still their everyday life. But even think of the mentality of someone.
I was like, the thoughts I was having was like I was in prison. I was like Oscar Wilde in prison. I was writing poetry about like my liberty being infringed upon. Like I had a real feeling of being punished just by having to go to school. It really felt like it was infringing on all my civil liberties.
I mean, I felt that as well. I
was the most libertarian when I was at school, this idea that I should not be asked to do anything.
I felt I was under a deep systematic tyranny.
Yeah, I did. I completely. The whole time at school.
And I felt we had a riot in my school. We actually did have like a French Revolution.
Can you hear the people singing the songs of angry men?
We genuinely had a riot, like French Revolution style. We had a guy called Matty Cowman who was like the...
Matty Cowman?
Yeah, Matty Cowman.
Did he earn that name or was he born with it?
He earned it. He kind of was bovine in nature. If you were to look at him, he had like very black hair, very white skin, so he was kind of cow-esque.
Yeah.
There was kind of a feeling he could produce milk. We never saw it. But there was just rumors of that. But he led this, so he was like the Robespierre of this riot, and we just refused to go back to class, like hundreds of us. At
what was
2 o'clock.
Was there Mary Antoinette? Were they taking indulgences?
Did Cameron have a lover? No, this is a boys' Catholic school, so it would have been just a little guy he would have been fucking.
What was the kind of trigger? Was it just any other day, or was there like a real...
Apparently, we were supposed to have been given a non-uniform day, because we had uniform.
I see.
And then this was reneged upon, of course.
Which is the social contract.
Yeah,
you know,
we'd been told we can wear our terrible own clothes, our terrible own 2003 Irish clothes.
God, well, yeah.
Horrific.
Yeah, stuff. I'd love to see it.
Like really dog shit.
Because I'm a lover of the Irish people.
Yeah,
but I will say
in a detached kind of
way. I love Irish people
in an anthropological way, like in a way that you're fascinated. You're like,
no, but the funny thing I do notice is that if you have Irish heritage or you're from Ireland, it trickles down. No one in Ireland knows how to dress well.
Right.
But it's they don't.
It's so true. It's incredible, yeah.
But the reason why...
Barry Keoghan is making such a show of the whole country.
Even if it's like 3 generations removed.
Right.
No one in Liverpool knows how to dress.
Right.
Because there's so many Irish people there.
Yeah.
Genuinely.
No, it's true.
The reason why you can get away with it is because you're so charming and likable.
Yes.
You know,
right.
The reason why there's the English gentleman or the idea of, all these tailored suits and stuff is because we're so unlikable.
Well, that's it. It's like, you better get this suit perfect. because you don't have an inch for error because your personality reeks to high heaven.
Yeah.
So you better look fantastic.
That's it.
It's the only possible redemption is to look great while you do awful things, while you do the worst possible things. And Byron was a big example of that.
Let's get back to what we're talking about.
Very quickly, the riot anyway, but I've done podcasts where I've done like hour-longs about the riot, but but the non-uniform day, we revolted and Cowman had a bower on, which is like an old Irish instrument where it's a two-piece of wood and you do. It's like a kind of handheld drum, really. And the place went fucking insane, and teachers all came out, and then the teachers, it was like violence got in them as well, and they were sick of the whole thing.
Oh, really?
So they came out with sticks and hurls and were swinging back. Yeah.
So there was a defense put on. And there was a righteous defense.
That's right. And then we got our ties and burnt them, and then we were calling all the teachers gay.
Okay,
that was the time.
Yeah,
you know.
So the Irish Revolution, the independence was called the Poets' Revolt.
Yeah,
this wasn't the Poets' Revolt, seemingly.
No, we were Philistines. We were men who had no time for the classics. You know, we were men who. This is
not Connolly. This is
no. We were men who liked soaps, watching soaps. Just absolute base melodrama. We did not want any.
So what you came
poetry.
out with was they're gay. That was the big.
Yeah, we were just like, one particular teacher, Licky Rashin, our vice principal, he, just for legal reasons, I don't want to get, because I've already got in trouble with him in the law. That's another story. Seriously, I did. I got called into the police station, but he came out and he's the vice principal, and we were like, Ration sucks cock, like hundreds of people, like it was just, and he just stood there like,
he stood there like,
well, he just stood there kind of like defiant in the face of it. But
and you had a damn respect for that, probably.
That's right, but as he was doing it, then like someone like threw like a fucking like rock, and I couldn't really hit him, and then he had to scurry back in with his tail between his legs, which was great.
Now this is a story that we'll probably talk about on another episode, but this episode is about Byron. This is about Wilde. So the man, Lord Byron, we're currently up at his upbringing, his psychosexual upbringing. That sort of, in many ways, what's interesting about Byron is that he was the sort of innovator of a lot of things that are normal today. Yeah. So a lot of his sort of sexual considered deviancies at the time is sort of like,
and by any good God-fearing people considered deviancies today.
But you know, your view of Berlin, when you talk about Berlin, it's like if you're not Lord Byron, then you are ostracized, right?
Well, yeah, completely. You're a creep. You're a loser. They like someone who likes like missionary sex and just heterosexual is like, in their eyes, that's a deviant creep.
Yeah, in the way that when Oscar Wilde was tried for homosexuality in the late Victorian times, with that sort of moral outrage, that's probably how people be tried in Berlin for having heterosexual missionary sex.
Or they'd be pelted with rotten fruit. Like you'd be put your head and hands through those little things that, you know, it was like medieval kind of humiliation, and thrown with shit. Yeah. And the Jones, oh, you're disgusting. They'd hate it. Oh, they hate it. You're like a normie. They call you a normie. Like, you're like a normie.
Yeah. But Byron broke free, was one of the first people to really like bring a lot of these. Obviously, people have been sodomizing each other.
Yes.
But
he loved ass sex.
Yes.
He loved it.
Yeah.
He loved the bum.
And he was called a bisexual.
He was. But he was more pan.
Yeah, he fucked anything.
He was as pan as be Jesus.
Yeah, I do wonder if Byron is around today, would he be full gay? Do you think it was all just a front for social? No, you think it was just
because he was
anything with a pulse.
Anything with a pulse. I'm talking age, gender. It didn't matter. I'd say there was a few squirrels that got it. Like there was like,
you know, so in many ways Rooney's more sexually discerning than Byron.
Absolutely.
Because he only will fuck.
Rooney just likes someone down on their luck. Like someone who's hanging on by a thread. And he wants...
And that's just a small part of Byron's sexual diet.
Right.
That's one small...
That's one colour on the spectrum. Whereas Rooney, there's a kindness to Rooney's shagging. Rooney's shagging was like, you seem like things are tough. How about you shag an international footballer? There's a story. That'll give you a lift. You know what I mean? I'm going to put it in your bum, but it's not going to be an altogether easy ride. But so Byron...
He was bullied at school for his club foot as well.
He was bullied a bit at school, but when he got to like Harrow, so this like private school, that's where he kind of flourished. He thought that was a kind of a utopian little place. A lot of the lads there, as they do in private school, I mean, you were in a private school, you know, we're all kind of experimenting with each other.
So did you have much homosexual experimentation at your school?
Absolutely not. No.
So me and Andrew talk about this. We realise, even though in many ways we are probably considered the more camp of our male friends.
Yes.
Because we did writing and stuff, maybe it was into drama and things like that.
Yeah.
So the rugby lads would call,
that's
especially
gay.
Me gay.
That's gay.
But interestingly enough,
back then that was...
We found out later that loads of our friends had homosexual experiences with each other.
Wow.
And it was only me and Andrew who hadn't kind of had fucked each other or had anything like that. And we realised, in retrospect, we're like the only people who weren't tossing each other off. And
was there a party that then felt like quite prudish? Back?
But then I felt double gay. It was like, because I'd been ostracised.
You weren't even gay enough to be gay.
It was there was a weird, because the confidence and the masculinity of a rugby player calling someone a pufter for being into drama.
Yeah.
And then going and tossing off another hooker or fucking...
There's almost... There's something kind of like even extra masculine about that.
Yeah, and as I say, this is all going into the romantic idea of the gentleman that Byron has laid out. There's something romantic to being sexually abused by your nanny growing up.
Yeah.
Your father losing your money, but you still maintain the class. And going to a school where the men toss each other off and are homophobic. These are what I view as the tenets of a Byronic gentleman.
And it's a really, like, that's just fun. It's fun. Yeah, fuck the gays, and and just like having a laugh. And
because in many ways, hearing that none of you guys are tossing each other off, I'd be lying if I didn't say that I look down on that.
Yeah, I mean, there is some.
So these guys are all right.
Losers. There's something so
Philistines. Oh, okay.
That's no one's going to write. There's no great writers came out of my year in school.
There's a lack of curiosity there.
That's right.
They're not. There should be no rock left unturned. That's what we were taught. You know? But with you, it was.
Well, that's what you've hit upon something there. It was just a deep lack of curiosity, and it was kind of an anti-intellectualism that led people not to suck each other off. But you know what? And I thought this because there was a phrase yesterday I used. Yeah. Have you ever heard there's a phrase like, that guy's career's going down the Swanee? Have you heard that?
No, I haven't heard that.
Right, so it's obviously an Irish one of some sort. And I've been using it my whole life. I'm like, it just means going down the tubes or whatever. And I never even was curious enough to be like, what's a Swanee? Like, what is that?
Yeah.
I don't know. And I never even... There's so many things like that. And I think
But it probably has a kind of completely unrelated etymology from history where some guy, used to smack people in the head with a swan.
With a swan?
Yeah.
Right.
And that's probably, I'd probably be right. That's what that's about. That has no relevance to my life, but the phrase...
but surely like the boys in my school who didn't have the decency or
intellectual curiosity.
Right, the thirst for knowledge to shag their friends up the asshole. I feel like it's kind of a little blemish on my own record that I didn't do that. But Byron, it is embarrassing now that I look back.
Yeah.
And it should be embarrassing for you for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Because if you wanted it, you could have got it.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. But is there part of you that was like...
I don't know. I don't know if I'd be picked.
That was maybe it.
Yeah. I don't know if I don't get much attention from gay men.
Right.
Yeah. I can imagine gay men like a bit of Mike.
I think that, because it's like, it seems like a challenge. They're looking at you and they're like, and you just seem like you'd be a nightmare in bed. You know what I mean? You seem like you'd be a living nightmare. Like just ungenerous, you'd get tired really quick. You'd start breathing heavily and like go all red in the face and just be like, that's enough for now.
You're like a cart horse.
Yeah, and they know I do, it just seems like I do anything. You know what I mean? Like if they were like, you know what I mean? Like bite one of my toes off, I'd do it. You know what I mean? And I would. There's a wild kind of primitive thing. Sure. But Byron, so one of the things Byron saw when he was young, his dad went abroad when he left the family to marry his sister. His father married his own sister in France because she had a lot of money.
I don't remember this. Oh, really?
That's right.
Interesting.
Yes. So this, of course...
Once again...
Yeah.
Kind of classy.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And it's like...
Well, it depends which ways, because incest can be viewed as very, like... It can be, like, farmer inbred, or it could be...
Or it can be the height of nobility.
It's kind of... The one thing it's not is the middle class.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
They have nothing to do with it. They can't touch it.
The kind of... The lower middle class, the clerk sort of...
Yeah.
None of that.
It's either your sister, Bob.
Or it's like, the only person who I could spill my blood with.
Yes.
This historic bloodline.
Is someone who shares it with me. And someone who truly understands what it means to be blue blood.
Yeah.
So anyway, so his father went off, left family, and like got with his sister because she had a load of money. He was constantly, Byron's father was always just kind of shagging his way into a bit of money, and then he would lose all their money, which is just a fun life to live. If you have no morals, like if you just don't give a fuck and you're charming and like good looking, like the havoc you can wreak on the lives of others is just incredible.
Well, if you're a gambling addict, you're praying that your personality has charm.
Yes.
I think the charmless gambling addict, that's a tough hand to get both gambling addict and no charm. That is a brutal combo.
Oh, you're getting at it. It's like you've done about someone we know, about someone who just sees the hand of cards they've been given in life. Like, oh, what's your personality going to be? And you look at the card and you're like, for fuck's sake.
No charm gambling addict, for fuck's sake. Jesus Christ.
But Byron himself, so after he leaves school, he's had romances in school with some ladies, but also some boys as well. He saved some fella from drowning, and they fell in love, and he's writing poetry about him. But so then he goes off.
What was he drowning in?
Huh?
What was the guy drowning in?
Byron's cum. And he saved him. He gave him
a key detail that's missed from that story when Byron tells it.
At his dinner party tales.
Yes, and I saved him. But Byron, what was he drowning in? They're not relevant.
I wish you wouldn't keep bringing that up, Percy. I ever so wish you wouldn't keep bringing that up. It was my jism as well, you know, Percy.
Great, I'm embarrassed now.
Yes. I shall be outside. I'm going to get my smoking cap. So then he fucks off around Europe, right? And at that point, he had this thing of like, because he'd read the Greeks and like Socrates and all these, and then he loved the Ottomans and the and Oriental literature and stuff. And in their kind of literature, there was a lot of stuff about like being gay is actually class.
Yeah,
you know.
But they didn't view it. I still once again view it as like the Greek, the kind of that more exotic view. They didn't view it as gay. Like I still imagine that when it came down to it, being gay is illegal. Yeah. But they didn't view like having bum sex with your friend as gay. That just was
no. And they also kind of thought. And
how else would you get legislation through Parliament? You know.
Right.
That's how I sort of imagine the Greek approach to it.
But so there is. How else can you cement a deal without chipping in your old friend's buttock? How else are you going to? How else are you going to know you can trust a man unless he gets down on all fours and lets you have what for? But I have friends who lived in Saudi Arabia. A girl who was a nurse, and she said like because like there it's like everyone with the burqas and everything, and you can only have sex with a woman when they're married. Just all the guys are just fucking each other.
Really?
Yeah. She said they're all absolutely bumming the life out of each other.
Interesting.
Just down every alley you look, you know what I mean? They're on top of roofs. It's just insane. She said, and as well, like if it gets like proven you'll be killed, it adds an extra fucking.
Of course it does.
Yeah. Oh, they're having
definitely.
the time of their lives.
Interesting.
But anyway, so he and he's like writes in his like memoirs. He's like, where in England you smoke your pipe and have a beer, over here you have some opioid and a young boy, and I don't see why there has to be a big deal. It's just one do it one way, the others do it another, you know?
I think the fact that he views a young boy with the same sort of casualness as a pipe, you know, going for a smoke, I think that does say a lot about his...
It's problematic dehumanization.
Yeah, I do think the fact that like a young boy, it's like he's finished dinner. Oh, I do fancy... fucking a young boy, actually.
That's right. Yes. The dessert has arrived. Yes. Over here.
But he loved it. Had he published anything during this tour?
So he had written some poems before, and in college he was known for being good at it, and so he goes over there and he's writing these treatises about like basically I think it's like the benefits of pederasty was one of the names of his thing. So it's like he was basically writing some of these kind of theses about like why being a pedo is cool.
Yeah, and it's funny to have that in a sort of treatise.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With handwritten ink and sort of calligraphy.
And he had his best mate from like Cambridge with him, Hophouse, who'd always just be like, Byron, you know what I mean? You can't say these things.
Come on, Byron. You know.
What are you doing? But he was like apparently like shagging everyone, and they went to Albania, and then like the king in Albania loved Byron.
Yes,
because he's like you're very pretty, with your small ears and your pale little hands.
Yeah,
and apparently they might have had a romance. Sure, Byron would stick it in a crack in the wall. Yeah, you know?
I feel whenever you hear podcasts or read books about it, whenever they imply there's a chance that Byron had sex with this man, he did. Yes. There's just no two ways that he didn't. Yeah. When it's like, we don't know, but he might have.
Right.
He did.
He did.
I'll tell you right now, he did. Gun against my head, he did.
Was genuinely, he's up there with the horniest men that's ever lived.
Yeah. Historical horniness.
Yeah.
He fucked himself into greatness.
That's right. And he but then he would like just do the most dirty things and then write, thine heart shall not. Yeah. You know what I mean?
But all of these things in the modern age, I mean, he was with kind of cross-dressing, with homosexuality, with ideas of gender, gaslighting, being a fuckboy, all of these things that are kind of all in the ether now. He was really sort of...
He started it all.
Yeah, he really started a lot of our...
Even celebrity culture. So when he came back from his travels abroad, and he was big into like, he wanted to also be... He also thought like writing was a bit of a fucking... He was a bit of a fraud. He was like... I need to be doing what Napoleon's doing. Like he thought he was going to free Greece. Yes. And he thought like he had these ideas that he was actually, you know, secretly one of the greatest war generals that had ever lived.
Which I think as a man you can sort of relate to that. I think there's, deep down everyone does sort of think if it came to it.
Part of me thinks drop me in Kiev right now. Put me in there right now. See how long the Russians last.
I reckon if I have a big table with someone pushing all of those, I reckon I could have a good crack at it.
I could imagine.
I reckn
you would love just pushing 20,000 young men to their death. Just like we shall put them here.
20,000 Mike Rices.
Yeah, just shove 20,000 Wayne Rooney's just shoving them into the furnace.
I'm pushing off the table.
Yeah, just literally, you were ordering for them to just walk off it. Like just,
there's a bin there and I put it in there because we won't need those anymore because they no longer exist. I already know.
Yeah.
I think the idea of, I imagine that the Ukraine defense, there is a big table with lots of things. In my head, there's 15 generals around there. I reckon one crack at the table, I could do something as simple as being, well, what about this, this and this?
Yeah. I
do in my head imagine they'd be like,
yeah,
that's fucking brilliant. Why didn't we think of that? That is, you crack almost like it's a crossword.
That's right.
Almost like a crack.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fucking brilliant. Obviously, that's great.
And you just feeling like that's your fantasy is you just kind of nodding like a window licker, just you know. Thank you. Yeah. I remember I only recently realized on a podcast like like Hitler, because like obviously he like started World War II so well because he's just a fucking idiot, because he was just like with the speed he would go in everywhere, because like no actual military person would advise they do what they did.
With Hitler, it's sort of like when you're playing someone like top poker players. Yeah, they hate playing people who don't have to play poker.
That's right,
because it's like
that's right,
because you can't predict.
You can't predict,
and then because you're playing the person. So like Hitler had that. Just
you can't get in Hitler's head. He's not there. You know,
but it does imply that maybe he was suffering from ADHD,
right?
Which means that I do think that casts different.
Is that honestly the narrative now, that Hitler was neurodivergent? Well, like in today's day and age,
well, he'd be like, I wonder if maybe with the new lens that he was maybe suffering from ADHD, maybe we could have like a
nuanced conversation around what happened.
Yeah,
and maybe have a little bit of empathy. Have a little bit of empathy.
Not even empathy, sympathy mainly.
Do you know what I was? Just straight old sympathy.
Forget about empathy. I want pure unadulterated
sympathy. Yeah. Don't even put yourself in his shoes. I just want you to actually feel sorry for him. actually that man got put through a lot.
Yeah.
Do you know who I respect? Do you know who I respect is Goebbels.
Oh yeah.
Just for his like when it was appearing that the Third Reich was like, you know, it's collapsing and it's all over and they're down in the bunker, and he just killed all his children, killed his wife, and blew his head off. Like just no one shall could do. And his wife was like, but maybe the kids, because their kids could be no.
Yeah, I wouldn't like to play board games with him though. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think he's a good loser. All right, fuck it. Well, we're all done.
No, cyanide for you. Cyanide for you. You too. Just.
Yeah, he's no nonsense. Well, Goebbels invented like a lot of PR, you know. In many ways, the modern comedian, social media, you have to really be a master of PR. So in many ways, we are children of Goebbels.
Not enough.
That's how I see it. You know, Vittorio Angeloni is the star child of Goebbels.
Well, for the longest time, I have drawn parallels between Angeloni and Goebbels. I mean, he's Goebbels-esque in almost everything that he does, and he will almost certainly blow his own head off.
You're Rooney-esque, but he's Goebbels-esque.
He's Goebbels-esque.
That's what makes your podcast so good. It's sort of Wayne Rooney meets Goebbels.
Which is obviously a meaning that so many people
over a 200-part interview. Split into 200 parts.
Where could this possibly lead? One of the greatest minds in mass manipulation of all time, and a man that will stick his dick in a piece of soil.
Yeah.
But so to go back to Byron.
Yeah.
So when Byron comes back from traveling abroad,
this
is when he writes his like most famous poem called like
Don Juan.
He writes that later.
He
wrote it. It's called like the mother of something or other. About it's a big hit.
Yeah.
And it's like,
and this is where he basically becomes the first celebrity, right?
That's right. And it's Byromania gets coined at that time.
Yes. And it's the first time mania is used.
That's right.
Yeah.
The first time it's used in that context. And like, you know, like ladies are writing letters, like ladies are fainting when they meet him, and it's like my heart pounded like the feet of a horse that was running to the Grand National.
Yeah.
And like people are going wild, but women are losing their minds.
Well, female sexuality, I imagine, hadn't really been explored ever, but this guy was so sexually attracted to women that it had kind of erupted.
Right. And even things like he'd go to dances, but he couldn't dance because of his club foot, so he'd just stand at the side. And then that became what was cool, being aloof and like not joining in and being like outside of the thing. And that was started by him as this kind of thing of like, it's actually very cool to just not do.
Yeah, next week everyone's coming in with crutches.
Yeah. And they've just like stuck their feet in fire, their feet are all burned. Do you know what I mean?
This is cool, right? No.
Yeah, they've cut off half their fingers.
We're not cool anymore. Oh.
Will you fuck me? They've just...
I do think maybe people who are irresistible to women, the most irresistible to women, are people who are more into fucking men. I do think that is sort of what women are most after.
I know women who watch gay porn.
We really?
Yeah. So they'll watch and they'll, you know, just something about a man fucking another man is... You know,
yeah, because I knew that straight men watch lesbian porn. I didn't know that it went the other way.
Oh no, yeah, women do, and sometimes they watch like fucking brothers, and like just the most heinous stuff.
God.
Yeah, I'm thinking of just one specific
one.
It's
funny with podcasting, you do just expand it out as this general point, and it'll always be one deviant, you know. Well, this is the problem with women today, and it'll be like.
I realised this was probably covering my face the whole time.
Right, they don't care.
Fuck it, they don't care.
They don't care.
They like it, but so
they like it rough.
So, so anyway, he starts this thing. He's a celebrity. There's these women that are obsessed with him, and then there's this like main woman. I can't remember what the fuck her name was. I'm gonna
names. It's impossible for me to remember names.
It's hard.
I remember kind of sexuality and who he's kind of shagging, but.
Yeah, but
what he's shagging, not who he's shagging. Because I don't remember the names.
This lady though,
Mary? Is this Mary?
No, it's
one of his three. Was this one of his three wives?
This one of his three. He only married the one, but this was one of the ladies that. Yeah. So she was basically like the wife of like a judge, a kind of an aristocratic person. but she was just obsessed with Byron, and she had like a little triangular face, and he met her at a party, and next thing, and he liked her because she wasn't puritanical at all. She didn't believe in like, you know.
And wait, is this the Regency period then?
Yeah.
Is it coming into the Regency period?
Yeah.
Yeah, which is the kind of explosion of sexuality. That's a lot of, I imagine it's a lot of shagging with the kind of big poofy dresses pulled up. That's sort of stuff. Men wearing stockings.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of, it's that sort of era.
There's just something so funny about these people, just like, like when you think of them in
with
their
the beauty spot put on.
Yeah, the beauty spot on their
wig.
wigs, and just their little, and you know they only showered about once every 4 months as well. So like they all stink, and
but they've got makeup on.
But they've got makeup
covered
on.
in like dirt. But
Yeah.
it's supposed to washing. They've painted their face
Yeah,
white.
like their bums are so dirty. Like their asshole is a nightmare.
And they're like, oh, I'm covered in shit. Well, I'll just paint white over that.
It's just like the Tipex of your asshole. That's fucking, yeah, we'll get rid of that. But this lady anyway becomes obsessed with him, and then he likes her because she's a bit of a free spirit. So he starts telling her, over in Greece, I'm shagging these young lads. You know, I'm as gay as the day is long as well. And next thing, she starts like dressing up as a little page boy going around.
Yes.
And then her husband is like, what in the fuck's name? And she's like, shut the fuck up.
I didn't sign up for this.
Yeah, she's like, you shut the fuck up. What are you
now
doing?
She's acting like, and now you wear a dress and shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
She's putting makeup on him. He's like, fucking
yeah. What's your problem, you fucking loser? Right, Berlin. You creep. You fucking creep. You don't like men. You're not gay. So she's going around like that, and then, but then it all kind of started to become, she was too much, you know what I mean? And she starts to embarrass him and stuff like this.
Yeah, she was
She's turning up dressed as a builder, like.
He's sort of his crazy ex-girlfriend, sort of.
That's
very
right.
Much that sort of.
She's
trope.
coming up dressed as a, you know what I mean? Just with a little hard hat on and her fucking tool belt.
And he's like, this is not what I meant.
Yeah.
I'm into young boys. I'm into choir boys.
That's right. This is not even.
She's dressed as a darts player. It's like, this is not.
With a fake belly put in, like I filled a Power Taylor, you know. So anyway, he's like, this is not what's on. And then she's like sending him like her pubes in the post. And
what have I done?
Yeah.
Well, this is, you know, it's Byron's fault. He's unleashed this in women. This is the start of all of this.
That's right. And so he's doing this, and at the same time he's shagging everything. You know, he's just, you know, and he's right. And then he's like, mine heart shall. You know what I mean? After he's, you know, shagged a 15-year-old. You know what I mean?
And
underneath a bridge.
Yes. And the sun rose on the young boy's arm.
Yes. The moon danced off the buttock of my page boy. Lawrence.
The whole of Regency society just
That's
loving
right.
it.
Yeah. And just like, and you know, every father is like, whatever you do, you're not working as Lord Byron's page boy. There is no way, you know.
But there's so many jobs available.
That's right.
My whole school was.
So then anyway,
it's like the coal mines. It's like a whole community built around shagging Lord Byron. You can't shut them. We've built a community around this.
Anyway, next thing, he's like this lady who's like a master manipulator, Lady Melbourne, who they call the Spider.
Yeah, she was the like a spectacular cunt, wasn't she?
Yeah, just terrible cunt, trying to break up marriages, just meddling in
She was like the gossip. She just like, he's saying this about you, she's saying this about you.
That's right.
The biggest meddler of all time.
She's a slut, he's gay, what, you know what I mean? Just
sort of like Sharon Osbourne on Big Brother.
Very similar to Sharon Osbourne.
He's a slut, she's gay,
And Louis, I don't know who we would call Louis in this story. Maybe the girl that sends the pubes. Maybe that's Louis. So anyway, so she's like, right. She's like to him, like, you have to get married, right? So then there's this lady called Arabella, I think's her name. But anyway, she's a mathematician. She's a good woman. She's like she's anti-slavery. She's all these stuff. But like, she's not really like that much crack. You know what I mean? Like, she's not that fun. She doesn't get Lord Byron's humor and stuff. Because he's quite funny. Apparently he's like really funny.
He sounds like he'd be a laugh.
Like he would be the best crack.
He's a good
of all
night
time.
out. Yeah.
So she doesn't really get his jokes and stuff, but she's like of good stock and it would be respectable and all this stuff.
She's good at maths. That's hot.
That's right. That's right. In a way.
All guys want a girl.
Oh yeah,
just great at the mental maths.
That's right.
There's nothing sexier than chucking a woman a hard
long division, and she's like,
and then just bang
2.72, and you're already on your knees. How about these mats? I became Rooney again.
He's about.
Yeah, he'd do that just to shut him up doing maths. He's just, I don't like that. Don't know more of that.
He starts chucking rocks at them.
That's right. So anyway, so he's like, right. He's like, I might marry her. Now, in the meantime, he's also gone and met up with his sister. And you won't believe this. He's taken, you know, very strongly to his sister.
You shocked me.
Yeah. At this point, he's like, good God.
Horatio's jaw drops to the floor.
Yeah. And the sister gets all his jokes. She knows, she gets the references when he's like, you know.
I guess it's like he's searched around the world for people who get him, and he didn't realise what was right in front of him all the time.
That's right.
His sister.
Yeah.
Less romantic, maybe.
It's kind of romantic. But there is something about the fact that they're lords and ladies that makes it pretty sick. That's kind of cool.
I searched the whole of Europe to find anyone who I'd like, but I didn't realise it was with me all along.
Right here.
In the bath when I was 2 years old.
That's right. My little sister. But like the thing is with the incest, like to me, is like it does take two to tango. Like, how are like?
Sorry. So with incest, your take is it does take two to tango.
Well, yeah. Like how do you get what? Like what are the chances you get two people to agree that this is fine?
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Is that sort of implication that a lot of incest is kind of like unrequited incest? There's a lot of.
Well, there's
a lot of one brother wants it.
There has to have been. There has to have been.
Yeah, percentage-wise, it's like turning the keys at the same time on the nuclear codes. It's got.
I think famously, Joaquin Phoenix in Gladiator is mad to shag his sister,
and she's not into it.
And she's like, "What are you doing?
This is embarrassing.
What are you? I'm your sister." And he's like, "Come on." He's just so horny. Like the horniness of it just doesn't matter. But also, there's a bit of the Drakes to Lord Byron. You know what I mean? In that, like. He just has been shagging everyone for so long, and everyone wants to shag him.
Well, what's the next taboo? My sister. Yeah.
The only person I'm not allowed shag is my sister.
But it does seem like they did get on really well, though.
Him and his sister.
Yeah, they seem like they had good.
They had such a laugh. Like, I think they wrote a screenplay together, like a buddy comedy.
They have a podcast, I think.
Yeah, they had a podcast. It was turned into more of a porn thing. Just it's like after 3 minutes, all you'd hear is, like just slapping.
There was a 45-minute applause at the end of the podcast.
They gave each other a standing ovation after shagging. So him and his sister, like there's a period there where they get locked in, they get snowed into some cottage together for like 3 weeks.
Well, I'm already erect just hearing this.
and they both refer to it as like the happiest time of their life.
Yes, yeah.
They are both just absolutely making ribbons of each other in this cottage. But then they have to leave the cottage, and then so anyway, he makes a mistake. He tells the spider anyway. He's like, I've been shagging my sister, and she's like,
don't tell the spider.
Don't tell the spider that.
I'm a bit of a spider sometimes. I think getting gossip out. I can see that. I feel like she's probably quite good at getting the goods out of him.
The spider, absolutely.
She lays the trap.
Oh yeah, 100%. But to be fair, the thing is with Byron is he kind of wants to tell everyone everything. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he rats it. Like his friend Hop House, when he died, had to burn all his memoirs. Because it's
literally deleting your internet history.
100%. But Byron told like when
smashing up his hard drives, but as opposed to it's your memoirs.
Yeah, he had to like delete it all because, and when he was dying, Byron was like made his friend Thomas was like promise to publish all my memoirs, and Thomas Moore was like, yeah, I will, yeah. And they're like
that's the opposite of how it normally goes. It's nearly always someone saying don't publish this.
Oh no, he wanted it all out. He wanted it all out because secretly Byron thought he should. He kind of thinks that every societal rule and convention is just fucking nannyism. And that you should be allowed to follow your most carnal and hedonistic desires.
Yes, for sure.
He was kind of satanic. He was a satanic.
Yeah. He
kind of believed.
It was like a Marquis de Sade sort of figure.
Yeah.
It was just.
I don't know who that is.
You know the guy who invented BDSM?
No.
The French guy. Oh, lad, you actually need to listen about Marquis de Sade because I know. A lot of your love for history comes from horny men. That seems to be the big fascination with you is kind of trying to find spectacular horniness.
Yes.
So Marquis de Sade, he was a French guy, but he basically invented all bondage, S&M, sadism, sadism, Sade. It comes from him.
But isn't
and he wrote like these books that were basically like 100 Days of Sodom.
But see, I didn't realize that sadisticness was specific to sex. I thought it's just you getting pleasure out of pain.
No, I think it is.
But it is actually you getting hard.
I think it became that. But it came from Sade. Sadistic.
Okay.
Yeah.
God, that's a terrible legacy.
Yeah. No, but we should read about him because he's almost too on the nose with it, though.
Yeah.
You know, Byron was writing poetry. He wasn't writing poetry. He was writing The Human Centipede. Do you know what I mean? Like,
he wrote the screenplay to The Human Centipede.
I think you like horniness when you there's a little bit of digging to do. This guy.
Can you imagine being on the set of The Human Centipede and just being like, what are we doing? Like, well, just being the actors and just being like, what?
Well, I imagine it's more the three of them on a smoke break.
Right.
Do you still have the glow on your face? Like,
yeah. Just being like, I hadn't worked in 2 years.
Did people come back? Because there's a trilogy, right?
Of The Human Centipede.
Yeah, there was quite a lot of them.
Yeah.
I don't know how many repeat actors they got, though. I don't know. If you keep coming back for The Human Centipede.
I had a few friends in...
But it's more like, imagine doing the self-tape for that, or just getting the script sent through. Just reading.
But your agent trying to, look, I know this isn't ideal.
It's a German film, art house.
You're in between jobs.
Very cool directors on...
Yeah, but you know the directors is like, they just had like spit coming down and saying, now you do it. Oh, God. This is horrid. But so Byron, anyway... Byron, he ends up marrying this lady.
Yeah.
So, but he's in love with his sister.
He ends up marrying his beard. His incest beard was this mathematician.
So was this Scottish mathematician. She was
boring as fuck.
Boring as fuck, but she's like a good woman.
Yeah. The only good woman he seems to know.
The only good woman he seems to know, but like really is no interest in good women. But it looks good on the face of it. She has some money.
Yeah.
She's a great public face. You know, she's involved in the abolition of slavery. She's like a good person.
Oh, so she's a bit of a do-gooder.
She's a do-gooder. She's a cunt.
She's a virtue.
She's a cunt.
She's a virtue singer.
We'll bleep that out. People will find that very unseemly.
But you can imagine she was incredibly dull at dinner tables.
Oh, yeah. Dull as dishwater.
Constantly talking about ending slavery and stuff. It's all right.
That's right. And like I said, she didn't get any of his, like, when he'd fart, she wouldn't think it was funny. You know what I mean?
It was like slavery, schmavery. Let's go fuck my sister.
That's right. I'll tell you who's a slave. My cock for my sister.
You know, he looks down there. She's writing a treatise about the moral wrongs of slavery. Yeah. He's writing a treatise about...
He's drawing a picture of his sister's tits.
And why being a paedophile is all right.
Yeah. But it's literally like the points of pederasty. It's like I can't remember the
treatise to pedantry.
Like let me see if I have it on here because it's like a really funny like name of that was the actual name of the treatise. Anyway, I don't have it here. But so he marries this lady, right?
Yeah.
And like immediately after they're married, like they're in the car back, and he's just like, you have ruined my life. He's such a cunt. He's such a cunt to her. He's like, you have ruined my life.
Well, this period of Byron's life, he loses a bit of the charm. Quality.
No, he's starting to fall apart. Yeah. And he like had, by a time he had a reputation of being mad, bad, and dangerous.
Yeah.
But at this point, he's just become kind of, he's kind of a bag of nerves. He's just done so many bad things as well that he's just like, haunted. Like he keeps like kind of fucking people over that he loves, and then he's haunted by what he's done. But
then never apologizing or making amends.
That's right.
He's sort of like just sitting in the hauntedness. And
that's right.
Like the pure narcissism of being like, I've done such bad things. God, I'm awful. Writing poetry about it. It's like, you could just apologize. She's still alive, you know. Yeah. She's still like there.
But then he's like, well, but literally another 50 bad things to do.
Stop getting obsessed with how haunted you are. Just fucking, you can fix 100%. It right now.
But he not only didn't fix it, he would continue to do more bad things to more people. Yeah. But so anyway, he writes on the wedding day, like he shags her on the couch before dinner. Like, she didn't want to do that. Yeah. And then that night...
Knocked her abacus out the way.
Yeah. You won't be needing this bullshit anymore. The only thing you'll be counting is the amount of times I come. Oh, this is gone just terribly.
Come on, it's about Byron.
It's about Byron. This is highfalutin. So, but that night, this is one of the funnier things in it is like that. So he doesn't like sleeping with women, as in like he'll sleep with them, like have sex, but he likes to sleep alone with his clubfoot. And you know, he can't sleep beside women. But anyway, it's their wedding night, so she's kind of like, we kind of have to sleep together. He's like, fine, right? And then at some point, like the sun comes like through the window, and he wakes up and he looks beside her, and she's there, and he goes, "Good God, I'm in hell!" He just roars. Just absolutely disgraceful behavior, you know. And in probably the most like shocking turn at one point, like they're married for a bit and they're doing this, that, and the other. And at one point, he's like, "We're moving down the country." And where does he bring her? But to his sister's house.
Oh, surprise!
Right, surprise.
Does she doesn't have suspicions yet, because no one knows about him shagging his sister yet, or is she starting to get a bit suspicious?
He's kind of alluding to it a lot.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Like he's saying things like, "Yeah, you know what? My sister's great."
Yes, he does. Yeah, he does say like, "Yeah, God, no, you look all right. My sister looks better."
My sister's so hot.
Alluding, subtle allusions.
Yeah,
I really want to fuck
subtle allusions. My sister sucked the cock off me last Tuesday fortnight.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah. Wink, wink. So anyway, he brings her back, and this is probably the most dastardly thing.
He is dastardly.
And that is the thing about him. He is a complete scoundrel.
But we use words. We're not calling him a cunt. He's a scoundrel. He's dastardly. He's
really fun. Like it's kind of like
you can't help but there's a roguishness to his.
There's a roguishness.
Pedophilia, incest.
I mean, like that's the thing. He is an actual.
He's a lovable pedo. You know?
He's a lovable roguish pedo, which you don't see enough of anymore.
Well, that archetype is a rare archetype in literature, isn't it? The lovable pedo is not. It's not a classic character, is it?
No, but like it's interesting. So he then brings to the sister's house, and then he basically, it's kind of like that scene in the recent movie Challengers. He like sits his sister on one side and one on the other, and he's like, I shall penetrate you both, and he like tries to get them to do a threesome. And like this like mathematician lady is like, good God, I've entered the seventh circle of hell. Like this man is insane. Like he is an absolute lunatic. That's his sister, who's now just there like sucked, and she's sitting there, like you said, she's there with her isosceles triangle, and she's like, "How has my life become this?" Right? So she, at that point, she's like, "Right, I just have to take a stay with the daughter." Like she's.
Oh yeah, we forgot about the daughter.
Yeah, the daughter who goes on to become very famous.
Invents the computer.
Right? Yeah.
Lovelace, is it Ada Lovelace?
Ada Lovelace, you know, she's also like a bit of a boozy Susie and shagging people. Do you know what I mean? Like she has her mother's like maths brain, and then she's like,
it's true, yeah, she's a
dirty dog like her father. Like, do you know what I mean? She's a nonce, probably. But she's up to no good, do you know what I mean? It's such a funny like character trait to run in the family of just being an absolute scoundrel. His father was a scoundrel.
Wait, how much was she really a scoundrel, Ada Lovelace?
She was, yeah.
Really? I didn't know that about her.
Yeah.
She wasn't just a nerd.
No.
She was a bit of a Chad.
Oh no, she died young. She was
okay.
She was Rooney-ian in her love of bin sex.
Yeah.
But
it's not like a Hawkins figure, right? That kind of clash of brain and libido,
like brain and deviancy. Like Hawkins, no one will have done it better than Hawkins. You know, what a mesh of like just two different people. Like,
I wonder what his parents were like. You know, maybe it was a similar thing.
You'd have
where it was Rooney shagged a computer. And knowing the Wayne Rooneys of the world, they would, wouldn't they? Because they'd see the CD-ROM.
They would.
And they'd be like, he probably could fit in there.
But also,
and
like,
if it won't, I'll make it fit in there.
Rooney would like to shag a computer in kind of in the way of like a Luddite to destroy the computer. Like, I will kill this computer with my cock.
Me not
like,
understand box.
Yeah, me not understand. Me kill box with cock. You know what I mean? Like, he would want to kill computers with his cock.
Like a Luddite, he is dressed as a woman at this point.
yeah.
But he doesn't know why. He doesn't know what day it is.
And that was the thing. Byron was, again, at the start, like, Byron would sometimes say he felt like a woman. He would sometimes like to dress like a woman. He was pretty in the way of a woman. There was, like, so many of these, like, the gender fluidity stuff like that we said earlier that seemed to have come online or become mainstream with Byron. But anyway, basically, he gets disgraced, and it's the spider has told people that he's shagging his sister. This is getting around. You can be basically hung for this. You know what I mean? And now Lady Byron
the spider, when she found out, you can't imagine how over the moon she was.
Oh, the webs were...
She was like, this is brilliant.
Oh, 100%.
She loves spilling the tea. She just loves it.
But what a piece of gossip to have.
That is unbelievable.
You know Lord Byron? Imagine you knew that Beckham was shagging his sister. Do you know what I mean? That's what it's like, having that info.
Well, I heard that Angelina Jolie fucks her brother.
Really?
So it'd be like that.
You heard that?
Yeah.
Who told you that? Like, I love that you've heard it. You've not read it online. Someone has.
A friend.
Yeah.
Did a golf trip. No, was on a golf course, and was speaking to a man who she didn't know was famous. She didn't know who this man was.
Right.
And he couldn't believe that she didn't. No, he found it quite funny that she didn't know who he was. Right. And then he told her loads of goss. The man was Bill Murray.
Wow. And Bill said that Angelina's shagging her brother.
Allegedly.
But you know, again, because of her...
But then I type in Angelina Jolie brother, first thing that comes up is them making out on the red carpet.
Her and her brother?
Yeah. That's the first pick.
So that's the first clue?
Yeah.
Is that there's video evidence?
So it's interesting when you're like, okay, this is an interesting hot tea, and then you see the first pick is them... Yeah, okay, maybe less... less Sherlock Holmes than I thought it would be. Watson, I have a clue.
People are putting the dots together. It's just him literally just slowly sliding it.
Anyway, this is not the incest we're talking about. We're talking about Byron's incest.
Yeah, so Byron's incest. So anyway, he basically ends up like basically his wife was like, listen, me and Ada are leaving. He was like, why? And there's like...
I just started getting good in here. What are you talking about?
Yeah. I just started to like you. You know what I mean? And she was like, yeah, just because you're kind of like, you know, you're a sadistic, incestuous paedophile is probably...
How about I will have sex with you, but you get a potato sack on your head and I speak to my sister while I'm doing it. How about that? That seems like a good deal, sexually.
Like, it's wild. But so he's like, when will we see each other again? She was like, hopefully in heaven.
Yeah.
That's what she said. So she's basically like, you're never seeing us again.
Some good lines.
You fucking lunatic.
Yeah.
So anyway, he ends up fleeing the country, never comes back to England, goes to Greece.
Is that when he goes to... Well, no, because he goes to Italy now.
Oh,
and
Italy now, is it?
Weirdly... So this is...
But by the way, all throughout this time, he's writing some good stuff.
Yeah. He's still...
You know what I mean? And he's still super famous.
So he treats his daughter awfully. But
he never sees his daughter.
He never sees her, but he also implies that she's not his real daughter, and he drops her off. Maybe this is a different daughter. Or do you only have one daughter?
No, he had a few children,
Okay, so there was one of the daughters.
This is the only one that was legitimate.
Yeah, okay, so not this daughter.
Yeah.
One of the daughters he says isn't his kid, leaves an orphanage because I think the mother died. And then she died of some Victorian disease when she was 5 years old. Apparently. Yeah. Crying, asking for her father, you know.
Oh Jesus! I don't know. That was so grim. It was
so grim. So you know, but back to the fun stuff. He
can I just say that just reminded me because it's so sometimes like something is hilarious just how unbelievably insensitive it is. So do you know the Dublin New York portal?
Yeah.
There's just some Dublin guy just put right up to the portal, just a plane hitting 9/11.
But it's a great social experiment, the portal, and just showing how bad you can't be trusted with it, you know. And I do want to see New York people seeing Dublin people. I just think there's an interesting crossover because, I don't know, it's just the trip that's been made so much from Dublin to New York, and I just think the difference in...
Right.
I don't know, I feel it's like looking back at their past selves almost, you know.
But there is something so like...
Seeing 15 Wayne Rooneys looking through...
You know, looking back through and finding you...
It's sort of like in 2001 A Space Odyssey when...
The monolith. It's the apes at the monolith. You know when they first find it and they're like... And they start... That's exactly what I thought, lad. That exact reference, I wrote it down. It's the apes at the monolith when they're like, you just see people just crowding round and looking at these people with like septum piercings and like tattoos, and Irish people just.
But it's like they're looking into the future and the past. It's like
yeah, it's
so
wild.
funny that she flashed her tits as well. Like,
but like what I loved it for some reason, because they shut it down then. But all the news media, like I was looking at Twitter, like, and Irish stuff, and just like Irish people shocked by lady, and you can see in the video everyone. Like, she flashed her tits and people are literally the happiest people that have ever lived. They are delighted. There are no... And also the idea is that, like, people would be shocked by a pair of tits in 2024. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, even back in Byron's day, pair of tits is absolute softball.
Yeah, but in many ways, she's a charitable woman. This is a good woman. It should be celebrated, right?
A wonderful woman.
This is a woman who's spreading joy. This is
love, beautiful, voluptuous, bouncy tits, like that. Yeah. And she even gave him the bounce.
And how generous of this lady as well.
Well, it's someone giving of themselves to give joy to others. For no, like, those people went back to their workplace that day and just did 2 weeks' work in the next 3 hours.
You know what? You made my day. Yeah. That's what I'd be like. You know what? You've made my day.
You made my day. you made my day. Sorry, oops. You made my day. And just people beat the shit out of you in Dublin.
There's still a lot to talk about Byron, but we're running at 1 hour 20.
We're 1 hour 20 right now.
Yeah, so I wonder how we'll split this up. I reckon probably we do our second half, and potentially we miss out wild for another time. Potentially. Right. We'll see what we do.
Yeah.
But we'll just do, or we do another, I think we could do the end of Byron and touch on wild.
Yes.
For the Patreon, maybe.
Right.
But it almost feels so good, maybe I should share it. Well, maybe what I'll do is we'll split this into 2 parts. I'm going to put the second part of this on the Patreon for free. So you can watch it for free, but you have to go on our Patreon. It'll be there. I'll link the Patreon in the bio. But the second part of this podcast will be on the Patreon. Anything to plug, my boy?
I think my tour, MikeRiceComedy.com for my tour dates. I'm going to be doing an autumn extension of my tour. I think
we can put you a link.
When
to
is
your
this
website.
coming out?
This will come out in 2 days.
In 2 days. Okay. Yeah. So actually, there may be tickets still available for. I have a show on Wednesday, the 22nd, at the George Tavern. The early show is sold out at 7.
I'm opening.
There's shows for the late show. Horatio show's opening. It's going to be great. So MikeRiceComedy.com. If there's still tickets, you should come along. That'll be the 9:30. It'll be the late show.
You have a podcast with Vittorio Angeloni. It's very good. Right. It's sort of like the Irish version of this. Basically.
Wayne Rooney and Joseph Goebbels.
I love it.
When Rooney met Goebbels.
I've seen Mike's tour show. He's the funniest comic right now. You'll absolutely love it. No one's on better form.
Nice.
It's going to be great. Is there anything else you have to plug?
No. That's great. Just at Mike Rice Comedy on Instagram. Great.
Go see it.
Nice.